Welcome back. We have another episode here on District of Unity. We're talking about religion versus Jesus. And this is another Brandon topic. He's coming up with some good ones, folks. So I'm going to let him break it down. What are we talking about here?
So, religion versus Jesus. Here's what we're going to talk about. It's not only just the different beliefs. And now we're talking about how the political propaganda is pushing their religion onto everyone else.
Interesting. We don't have a script, folks, so this is all new to me.
Yep. So we are going to get into how that correlates into what it opposes to as to what Jesus is. And, it's not just that either. It's about, all of us. And, the fact that it is today, you got so many people that are, assuming what I believe in, or assuming the way how I am is I'm religious. And they get confused with that when it comes to the way how, because religion and Jesus do not go together. Religion and Jesus do not go together, just the way how Jesus is not supposed to be with politics. So what does that tell you? When you got the political agenda that's trying to push onto all of us, the younger generation and older, they're trying to push the fact about they're coming together now, and it's sad. You got all of the political governments trying to come together to rewrite the Bible. And in the Bible, it does say that whoever shall add or take away from the Word of God will reap what they sow. And again, I'm not here to judge badly. I'm just here to point out that truth right there. And that is the truth of what we're coming to. We're coming to a world where they're trying to be inclusive into everyone's beliefs, everyone's religions. When that's not the way how God intended, or Jesus, that's not what Jesus wanted for us.
So for the...
And I don't mean by taking away from the fact about being unitized.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking that away. What I'm trying to get at is that there's so many religions that they say they're similar.
Right.
Yes, we have some similarities, but there's one main difference about that. The God that I believe in came down as a man and died for all of us. And his name was Jesus.
So let me ask you, as the people would ask you, what is the difference between religion and spirituality?
Spirituality is when, let's say you're conversing with someone, getting to know someone, and you're sharing your story with them, you're sharing your past, you're sharing that is your testimony. Mm-hmm. But you're also going to share how you got from that, how you went from there to where you're at now.
Mm-hmm.
And what that said is, throughout all that process, you realize that you're really not alone, because Jesus is right there with you no matter where you go. God is with you no matter where you go.
Mm-hmm.
The Holy Spirit is with you wherever you go. Whether you recognize it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, that God is right there with you, and it's up to you if you want to open that door, that spiritual door, to let him into your life. And what I did is I applied Jesus into my life in a way where, just the way how you treat people. You treat people the way how you expect to be treated, with also understanding that true definition of love. And that is where people will get confused with that. Because you got so much of the political agenda with the LGBTQ saying, "Oh, love is love." If it was that simple, man, it would be. If love is that simple, then it will be simple to be a man or a woman. Am I right? No, it's not. It's not. It's more complicated than what you think, but it's also very easy to explain in a sense.
So, with those differences there, I guess I'm going to ask for you people, because you people are sending me vibes right now like, okay, I'm a dedicated Catholic. I'm a dedicated Baptist. I worship God. I read the Bible, and I always, pray and ask for forgiveness and work through Jesus' footsteps. And some people may say, well, I walk by faith, not by sight. So, what is the difference of what you're saying versus what they're doing, going to church and so forth?
So, going to church, and I'm going to say this just like I said in the last video, you could be raised in the church your whole life. I was. There's going to come a time where God is going to show you who, once you become of age to where you're self-aware of a lot of things, when reality hits you, you're going to start to understand how people are. You're going to start to understand where people change. You're going to also understand to see where the church will change. And if that church changes, it's going to go two ways. There's only two options. There are two ways that it's going to go, up or down. And once it goes down, you got to ask yourself, why is so many why so many people leaving? Why is there so many people leaving the church? Why is so many people going to church?
Mm-hmm.
So you got both spectrums about it. And this is where it deciphers. All those denominations are just a way of it segregates on what Jesus wants for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't come down to create Christianity just for it to be divided up in different denominations.
Right.
He didn't do that.
Right.
He came down here to show us that there's an example. He showed the example of what it is to be a true Christian. To be like Christ. And what is it to be like Christ? Being humble. You got to be selfless. There's so much good spiritual fruit. That's what we call spiritual fruit.
Mm-hmm.
You got to bear that good spiritual fruit in your life, and you got to remind yourself every day on how to be like patience, perseverance, obedience. And obedient doesn't always mean doing what you're told.
Right.
See, that's where my generation gets it mixed up. Obedient does not mean doing everything you're told. Being obedient to God and being obedient to the truth is doing what's right, even if it's not easy.
Right.
So, with that said, that is also a prime example of what love is supposed to be. And love is when you have someone that's willing to die for you.
Mm-hmm.
Not just die, but even come back. He came back and said, you think we're done here? Nah, death couldn't hold him. He showed us a true example of how to live even beyond this temporary life.
So, all right, that's a bad term, but I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Okay.
So, with religion, do you see that as a mechanism of control by man?
Yes.
And in what way?
I'm going to say yes, because religion is a way where people can use to manipulate into getting more money,
mm-hmm.
into getting temptational actions with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got these popes, you got these, all these different types of people that are, trying to spread the one message that no one can truly understand. We're not meant to understand it, but we got to spread the message to where the way how Jesus would want it to be spreaded, and it's a way of peace. What did Jesus really want? He didn't want war.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't create this thing to be a war. He created what he believed in to be a peace, an
mm-hmm.
act of peace, not an act of war. So if that's the case, you got so many of these religions and the political wars. I'm gonna get into this.
Mm-hmm.
This is where religion versus Jesus comes into play big time. You got all these politics, government trying to create the one thing, yet they're also being their own devil's advocate by spreading also the fact, oh, you believe in this. Oh, that's different from that. Oh, this. Oh, wait. Oh, what the heck? They and then that's where people are confused. And when they get confused, they get frustrated. When they get frustrated, it creates anger or frustration. When that frustration will turn into anger, that anger will turn towards into
Chaos.
or catastrophe.
Yeah.
So with that said, you got that when Jesus showed a better example of that, or a better example that was not of that. So with that said, you know, it's really, that's where you got the political. You look at what's going on in the world today. What is the government really paying attention to? Other celebrity lives. So they're basically spying on celebrities. You got some. They're trying to distract us while they're also invading our amendment, our right of
our rights,
our freedom.
Yeah.
You know, and the one thing that Jesus did, Jesus knew he was free. But did he ever boast about it? No. Did he ever? What did he do with those people? He just called them out for the truth. When he flipped over those tables, when they were trying to use the religion for money, he just called out. He didn't hit nobody. He didn't put hands on. No, all he did was flip the table.
Yeah.
And that was a brick. That was a stone table that no one could ever. He had to take freaking 9 people to move that thing. And all it took was for him one motion.
Shows the power of anger.
And that wasn't anger. That was just out of disappointment. That's disappointment. Jesus was disappointed in what they were doing because that's not what God was about.
So then, basically, you're trying to say that politics and the LGBTQ agenda is a religion more so than an advocacy group, or
I'm not saying that it's an advocacy. I'm not saying that it's not a religion. What I'm saying that it could be both.
Interesting.
It could be both. Because at the end of the day, pay attention to what they're trying to push. They're trying to push to where we can't only accept it. They're trying to push us to where we believe in it. And I don't. You could believe in something different and totally against me, and I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you show that mutual respect, as long as you show what you believe in towards other people, that's a self-reflectant of yourself. And if you're losing that battle of yourself, is the moment where you're going to get boastful, you're going to get prideful, you're going to get selfish, you're going to get greedy, you're going to get narcissistic, you're going to get all those types of bad weeds in your spiritual life.
How do you avoid that?
It's not much less avoidance. It's more or less the fact about it's an everyday battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's an everyday battle.
I mean, and I'm asking in a way where it's like, okay, if a young person is listening to you now and they're in the same situation as you are, and they've taken a totally different path, but then they were like, I like this, but how do I get there? What advice could you tell them?
The only advice that I can give to you really is stop fighting God. Stop fighting that what you need to do. Don't be afraid of standing up to be handling your own responsibilities, doing what is needed. Not only doing what you want. You got to stop doing what you want. That's the problem. People are only focused on what they want instead of what they need for their spiritual growth.
Stop being selfish.
Yep. You got to humble yourself. No matter where you at. If you're at a point where you're poor and you're at that point where I want to give up, that is where God will give you that strength that you gotta take it in and become self-aware where you're at. You know what? No. Are you going to be comfortable there, or are you going to get up and do something about it?
Mm-hmm.
That is the advice that I can give you. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't born in a rich family. I wasn't. I'm wealthy. I'm not rich or poor. And I was even growing up, I was poor, but my dad raised me to where
You didn't feel it.
It didn't feel it. Why? Because my dad made sure that he was there, but he did the action to make sure that we weren't poor.
So how would you spin it the other way? Let's just say somebody somehow came into generational wealth, or they develop wealth, like they built a technology company and all of this other stuff, and they're on the other side of it, and they're like, I don't need God because I done made myself into a
See,
success.
but what they don't understand is that that's the same gifts that God gave you.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, if you're not going to praise Him for it, then guess what? You will reap what you sow. So if you're going to be too prideful, if you're the one thing that people always do is forget.
Mm-hmm.
You forget once you want the easiest thing for a man to do is when he's at that high point of where I got a lot of money, I got this, I got that.
Mm-hmm.
The worst sin to have with that is pride. It's the worst.
And let me spin it another way. Of course, I tend to do that. What about somebody that never knew God? They grew up in a household where they were atheists, or they were, disconnected, a couple of generations disconnected, because, you think about it.
Well, here's the saddest part. The people like that, they try to find people, they try to put their faith, or they're trying to, they're trying to get help at the best that they can, but also they're too, how do I say, they're too curiosity kills the cat type thing, where it's like once you can't put your faith in man.
Right.
If you're out on your own, and I do not wish that upon anybody. I wish I'm sorry that you guys are going through that. But the reality is that you can't judge the belief of Christianity onto what other people or what other followers are judgmental and stuff like that, or I would say religious people. I call those religious people because those are the people that will look down upon people that are in a lower status than them, and they don't pray for them, they don't do that, or they do, they're just being very judgmental about it. And it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
So with that said, you got to be that leader. You got to lead your heart. If you're at that status, you need to make sure you pick yourself up and you say, I'm going to keep on trying. You're still alive. You're still breathing. That means that God still has a plan for you. You may not know it, but I don't. I still don't know what God is planning for me. I came on here because, Carl gave me the opportunity to be on here. So with that said, God puts people in your life, whether it's temporarily or long term. You don't know. But the best part about it is that the people that you have in your life, you don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted either, because those people can also be the people that can answer your prayer, that God puts there for you to answer your prayers.
I understand that. I definitely do. One thing that I want to add to it, one thing you mentioned was pride. Pride, that is like the death knell of anything that you have. You can have pride in family. You can have pride in your belief. You can have pride in your work. There's always been a sports analogy. When you start reading your own press, you already done lost. Because you felt like you went to the top and, I did the best that I ever have and nothing is better than that. And then you tend to go the other way because you think you are what you did. You have to look at your achievements as separate from what you actually are.
I like to say something too, and this is where religion gets it wrong with this. I'm gonna ask a general question. You put it in the comments. Put your answer in the comments. Do you guys know what faith and works is, or how faith and works come into play?
Interesting.
And I'm gonna ask you this because it's a question for you too. What do you think faith and works is to you? How do you think that faith and works go hand in hand?
And he's coming at a point where I'm not spiritual as he is, and I'm older.
See,
so
and look, this is just me asking them a question. I'm not forcing them. I'm not forcing anything on them. I'm just asking them a general question.
I'm just letting y'all know that. All right. To me, you have to separate your actions from your feelings. Okay? And when you talk about faith and works, this is just my answer. It may not even be the right answer.
Right.
If I do something for you or I do something for the community, I'm not honoring myself by doing that work. I'm working as a conduit to get the job done, you know. And if I'm helping, I have to take it as such. I can't go out there and celebrate it. Look what I did for this community. Look what I did for him. I
Basically
made
boasting.
him.
So he's on the right. He gave the right answer there, and I'm gonna get into that. So he says that I'm just a mere vessel, which is true. We are mere vessels. We are tools of God. We are useful. We're so our value is so high, but because it's so high, we have to be the ones to humble ourselves. It's only high, and the only reason why it's so high is because we have Jesus in us. It's His blood that we were washed with. So with that said, that's a very good answer. And when it comes to faith and works, here's how it goes. Your works reflect your faith.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get you a ticket to heaven.
Right.
That's where religion gets it wrong.
Right.
Oh yeah, you got to do this. You got to practice this. You got to do this on a daily. And if you mess up, boom, you got to do this. You got to do that.
You got to
It's
tithe.
like,
You got to
no.
give a third of your income to this church.
And just like when He gave Moses the 10 Commandments, He gave us the 10 Commandments not because, we had to follow them, but because He knew that we would fail. He didn't design it because they were not made to be broken. Rules are fortunately broken all the time. But it's a fact about what you do after that and what you do to make that transformation inside that spiritual transformation, not your physical transformation.
Right. Exactly.
That God in the Bible, it literally says this: God will transform you.
Mm-hmm.
Transform your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
not your physical being.
No, they take it literally. Yeah.
They took that to a whole different standpoint. Yeah. And people say, "Oh, why are you against this, that?" Well, because it's not what Jesus came down here for.
That's material.
You could dress up, you could try to be something that you're not. You could try to be someone that you're trying to be, and it's all a fantasy. That's all it is. You would never be able to change your physical genetic makeup, no matter how many injections you get of testosterone or what's the other one?
No, estrogen.
Estrogen. No matter how many shots you get, it's going to only destroy your body.
Mm-hmm.
You're destroying what God created you to be, And if you're lost, it's okay to be lost. There's no rule book in saying that it's wrong to be lost.
Exactly.
That's every person's story.
And see, here's the thing too. I want to add into this mix. It's like there's nothing wrong with you going out doing good works, and there's nothing wrong with celebrating. There's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem when you stop believing in what you're doing.
And I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna help you explain that because what he means is this: when you do a good deed for someone, I'm not gonna. Can I borrow this real quick? I'm not gonna sit here and be like the people in my generation where they're like this. Oh, look what I just did for this guy.
Yeah, doing the selfie.
That's boasting. You're boasting now. See what you're doing is that I'm taking videos and I'm like, I'm gonna give this man a water. I'm gonna give this man a water. Here, that's for you.
Oh man! Wow!
Please like and follow and subscribe. They're becoming selfish.
Yeah.
They're thinking that they're the only. It's not. It's what God put inside your heart to do, not you. Not the other way around. It's God working inside of you to do that good deed, not to boast about it,
right?
But to humble yourself about it and pray for that person. Be humble about it. Keep it. Moving in silence is the most powerful thing that you can do.
And let me tell you, let me do this quick story about this painting right here that you guys see. All right. One of the ways that I make money, I don't have a job. I make money. Okay? I don't have to report to work every day. I don't have to report to a boss. Okay? But one of the ways I make money, I do deliveries. And in the villages in Florida, I delivered to the same group of customers over and over again. And this painting here is based off of the beach. Okay, this is based off of New Smyrna Beach. And I was talking to one of the clients that I dropped off to. Been talking to her for weeks. It's like her parents own a house in the villages. Her parents are like in their 60s. The woman was in her 20s and so forth. We always talked about the beach, going to the beach. So she made this painting symbolizing with those two Adirondack chairs that we will be looking out on the beach. But you know what? Her parents was the one that gave this to me because she passed away. And that was like, I had no idea that she was sitting over there doing this painting for me because I'm just sitting there trying to deliver groceries to her, deliver items to them. And I always had a joke for them. I always talked to them. And the thing of it is, you're not going to get along with everybody, and not everybody's going to like you showing up there. But you don't sit over there and say, well, I have pride in my work. I have enjoyment of doing my work. Those are two different things. And hold up. And the thing of it is like when you have pride, that's saying that you're the greatest at what you do. When you have enjoyment, you like what you do. There's a difference between that. And because I liked what I did and had a good attitude about it, she made this for me and finished it and didn't get a chance to give it to me because she died before the parents couldn't even open up their mouth. I knew it was something wrong because, God give us that feeling of awe. And it was like, okay, what happened? The mother couldn't even explain to me how she died, and the dad was, already bawling. And I was like, and that touched me, that she actually took the time to do this. She didn't even get a chance to sign it, I don't think.
No. Oh, right. Yep, no, that's the signature right there.
Okay, I can barely see it, but
yeah, it blends in pretty good.
But yeah.
But
but see, that's the enjoyment of doing what you're doing versus pride. Because if I went in there and said, I'm the greatest delivery driver ever, or I'm the greatest podcaster ever, or I'm the greatest video editor ever, whatever I do, repair work, I do it all.
Being joyful is a selfless happiness.
Yeah.
And it's a selfless happiness that can last forever. The only way, and this is what my generation is so immature. They lack the spiritual maturity to grasp the understanding that they are in control of how they feel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's where the government wants to get us wrong at, is that they think, oh no, you can't control how you feel. Yes, we can.
The pride is in that the generation, the younger generation now. Their pride is in their feelings. Their politics is in their feelings. Their religion is their feelings.
They think that because they finally do, they think that because they finally get off of their butts and actually do something for Oh, I took out the when the parents come home, the kids, they ask their kids, what'd you do today? Oh, I took out the trash. That's it. You didn't. No, not even that. You won't even. They won't even say, "Oh my gosh, I gotta take out the trash." What are you doing, man? You have to it's a hard thing to do, and that's where people get it wrong, And then you got these kids that post videos about it, saying like, "Oh, my parents make me doing this. My parents force me doing that." But it's also the parents that fail to explain to their kids why they.
Well, that's the
so it goes both ways. Yeah. It goes both ways.
The entitlement.
It's the kid not being patient enough to ask the parent, but it's also the parent has to go to their kid as well. So it could go either way, and it takes two to tango. But with that said, my generation has got to understand that we're not designed to to repeat history. We're designed to be the change.
Mm-hmm.
God designed us to be better than what our parents were.
Right.
And it's not out of a boastful thing. It's not out of a pride thing. It's just a simplicity of what the reality is supposed to be.
That's how humanity grows.
That's how we also grow within each other. That's how we become the unity. That's how we save planet Earth in a sense too, if we want to go green.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at what they're doing with the Teslas. I just went off topic with what I'm talking about, but it's gonna be similar. They want to talk about saving the planet, yet you're creating a battery that you cannot dispose of. If you dispose of it, it's gonna harm the planet. So, with that said, you got a government that are focusing on, oh yeah, we're gonna go rediscover something that we already discovered years ago, Titanic. And rest in peace to those people that passed. My condolences to their families. But at the end of the day,
what the hell was they thinking?
What that was my thought process, and it's like, but that's what that's what propaganda is, isn't it? They get you focused on one thing about the past. They try to stop looking into the past.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go.
Right.
Let the past go.
Right.
What's meant to be down there is meant to stay down there. It's not meant for us to rediscover, just like out there doing all this other stuff. But see, that's what religion does too. They judge you based on your past, not what you've done to change yourself.
And then on top of that, religion goes so far outside of the Bible. They'll take one scripture and they'll spin it 5 different ways, where it's like, what was the intent of saying it?
And it's because of those spin-offs that creates the denominational part.
There you go.
And that's...
And see, think about this. And this is going to sound weird, let's take Jesus and religion out of it, and let's focus on you. All right? Would you rather for somebody to love you for who you are and what you're doing, not having no scope of that, oh, if I do this,
they're going to love me more.
Right.
And this is where my generation gets it wrong. They think that because, I want to do this, that means I'm going to get a lot of likes, a lot of love. That's all you really care about? This is what the Bible has been trying to warn us about. This is what Jesus has been trying to warn us about. This is what God has been trying to warn us about over the years of history, starting off from Adam and Eve. And yet, and I'm laughing because it's the sad reality of today, isn't it?
Think about it.
They want to be accepted.
How many times has somebody gone viral over something that they would never think will go viral? That just tells you what the people are. You know what I'm saying?
This is the saddest part about our generation, and it's my generation.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna say this: look at the Island Boys.
Okay. I don't know who the hell they are, but go ahead.
See. I'm glad you don't know.
Who they are.
It's a sad reality. They made famous off of one freaking video when they were goofing off in the pool. That's it. That is it. They did not come out with the song. All they did was, this is what they did. I'm an island boy. And I'm like, are you serious? You're in the pool, dog. You think that's talent? Nah, bro. Nah. And then every time when I'm going to, I watch TikTok. I don't do, right. I'll do some TikToks here and there, but I don't do it for the attention. I just do it because I think it's cool.
Right.
But there's a lot of people there's a lot of stuff that would be on your For You page,
mm-hmm.
and it's very bad and corrupt, and then you'll say, I don't want to watch this. It's not relevant to me, right?
Right.
But they still post it. Why? Because that's the government. That's the government. Mm-hmm. Whether it's China's government, whether it's freaking our government, all governments are corrupting our lives through the technology that we have.
Interesting.
That is their religion. Their religion is science. What is science? Science is creating this, not only biomechanical stuff, they're also creating technology. There's so much science to technology itself.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, you got so many people that are putting their all into it, when, no, That is religion.
Mm-hmm.
That is what religion wants you to do. That's exactly what religion is pushing people to do.
Right. I agree with.
And the political agenda is a form of a religion. I don't care what anybody says. You can prove me wrong. Put in the comment, prove me wrong, please.
They worship a candidate.
They want people to believe in a human being that is just as failed as many times just as us. If not, they're still failing, and they're always under construction. They want us to put our faith in that? No.
Exactly.
No, I don't bow to no man. I don't bow to nobody except God. I stand for the flag, and I kneel to Jesus. I kneel to the cross. Why? Because that's what it needs. That's the way how Jesus has been trying to get us at. It's okay to pay respect to your fellow men.
Mm-hmm.
And what says that it's never paid enough.
Right.
Look at the veterans.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's this video where this very World War II vet, or I believe so, yeah, it was a World War II vet. It was a video that went viral. He goes, "What did we really fight for?" It's sad.
I know.
How do we? The society is not what it once was.
I know.
People. Yeah. People. You got, and even the Vietnam ones, the one that had fought 2 wars.
I know.
Here and there. So with that said, and all they did was follow orders. You can't blame them for that, can you? They're just trying to figure out life the way everybody else was, and if not, they're trying to do it in a way where they're trying to be heroes. But unfortunately, you got the government that's trying to push that agenda to where, they did this, when you're the one that gave them the right order. So see, they don't want to take accountability. That is another thing that this generation lacks. Accountability. Yeah. You got to take accountability of your own actions.
I've been saying that in every video just about.
You got to take accountability. All the stuff that we're repeating from, because we're saying, we said it previous, is because it's all these videos are tying into the same message.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys, and you guys can agree to disagree, and that's cool. We're not here to be. We're not here to. We're not here to. I don't care if you dislike me about this or not. I don't really care if people think that I can get banned for it. I don't care. I'm not here. I'm not. I thought about this before coming on doing this, and I thought about, okay, what is the backlash that I'm gonna get? I always see. That's what's wrong with this generation. They want to do something, yet they're not thinking about the catastrophic effects that can happen with it. So me being here, I can understand that people are going to have a lot of different views.
Of course.
I understand that people are going to not agree with me, and that's okay.
All right.
There's nothing wrong with that. As long as we get to show that mutual respect, this is what the unity is all about. You can believe whatever you want to believe in, but if you're going to show your belief in a way where you're going to try to force it on someone or try to persecute someone or try to kill someone, it's wrong.
There you go.
Just because you believe in something different doesn't mean that somebody else has to be persecuted for not believing what you believe in.
And then you can't judge people off of your own stick.
You gotta this is why they say you gotta look at the world through Jesus' eyes. You can't look at the world through. If you look at the world through your own vision, you know how small that vision is gonna be. That then he's gonna be so tiny. You're looking so close up on the image instead of stepping back and looking at the whole spectrum, just like when he was describing his painting. Right? Look, there's a story behind it, and you just heard it. But in the previous videos, you probably just thought, "Oh yeah, it's a nice painting." That. But the story behind it is what gives that painting a purpose and a meaning. And with that said, that's how God did with us. He painted us. He's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Boom, boom, boom. That little detail there. That little detail there. Boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. And he's like, that's you. God created you. But at the end of the day, there's stuff like this that's gonna have such a priceless. It's priceless. Mm-hmm. You can't put a price on it. Just like how you can't put a price on us. No. You can't put a price on me. You can't put a price on people.
Exactly.
And that's where they got it wrong in the past too. And it's history repeating itself. Look at how the big corporations are too. I'm not talking about just political. I'm talking about work. I'm talking about work politics. See, there's so many politics. It's not even fun. It's sad.
I know.
It's sad. You got these big grocery franchises. You got these big shoe franchises. You got all these political work politics and stuff. You got all these big names such as Walmart, McDonald's, stuff like that, but they all have one thing in common. They're trying to force you, they treat you like crap. They really do. And I'm not saying that as putting them down. I'm saying it as if, why can't we treat each other the same? Why can't you show me the respect that I give you? And I don't. That's all I really ask for when I treat somebody. Is like, I don't ask for a lot. Why? Because that'll be selfish of me. I have to be humble enough to where, all right, what I give into it is what I should be getting it. But if I don't, that doesn't mean I'm gonna wish bad upon someone. No, I'm gonna pray for that someone. I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna feel more sad than anything because they don't understand the reality the way I see it. They're still looking at it through close up instead of taking a step back and being mature enough to look at it through a bigger spectrum to look at the details from a far view. That way you can see the details even more. Because if you're looking, let's say if you're looking only here, you only see that white, right? But take a step back. What do you see? You're starting to see the shade. You take a big step further, you see the grass. You gotta take yourself far enough to where you can see everything and what's going on. Not just what's going on in your life. Because whatever's going on in your life is also going on in somebody else's life, just differently, in a different way. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of people who are not where you're at. You got people that wish they could be where you're at.
There you go.
So at the end of the day, you got to be grateful for what you have. That's the difference between religion and Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus teaches that.
Right.
Religion pulls you away from that.
It does. Because it's working on a whole different agenda.
Religion is what keeps us in those chains. Jesus sets us free. Jesus is the person that set us free from the bondage when he died on that cross for us. That's why it's called grace. When you're running a race by yourself, mm-hmm. It's just called the race. But if you run with God, it's called grace. Why think that G is there?
There you go.
That's what I'm saying. So with that said, look, he again, he like he said, he brought his point of view. He even played devil's advocate, and he's like, wow, because now we're both learning from each other. I learned a lot from him, just like how he learns a lot from me. That is what the older generation, newer generation has to come to understand, is that we can learn so much from each other. That
we're all learning.
This is what community is. When we come together, when we work together,
we're all learning.
This is what Jesus Christ wanted for us.
Yeah, we bring different points of view together
and make them stronger.
Yeah,
and with that said, whatever you want to believe in is your choice. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself this: when I die, where am I going to go? We don't know.
Exactly.
You know?
No clue.
I don't know. But am I going to fear death? No. That doesn't mean that I want to freaking die. No, that doesn't mean that. It just means that God taught us to not fear it.
Right.
Jesus showed us that.
Right.
Jesus showed that we could beat death. It's just in a way where people can never explain. Just like how you got the government that's trying to clone. Mm-hmm. Yet they never understand how a baby is made. Why? Because it's only something that God can create.
That's why God gave us free will. All of that.
And I'm going to get into something about that free will. Is it really free will? I mean, think about it. We have the freedom to choose. But there's really only two choices. Religion or Jesus. You want to be part of this world? That's your choice. Mm-hmm. But if you want to be part of something that's bigger than you want to be part of something that's going to give you eternal life. Mm-hmm. Eternal, mm-hmm. paradise. Mm-hmm. You got to be where you need to be, not doing what you want, not only doing what you want to do, not only being selfish and be like, oh yeah, I want to do this, that. I want to go to the club. No. Well, you gotta be where you're needed.
Again, again, you still have free will, even within that.
Yes, you do, but it's what you choose to do with that free will.
Exactly.
And
That's why he gave it to us.
Exactly.
You know
exactly. You know? So at the end of the day, in every decision that we make, there's always going to be two choices, maybe three, depending. You got that option, or you got the option of saying, "I'm gonna back the, I'm not gonna choose nothing. I'm just gonna dip." Why? Because it wasn't a situation where you felt like you had to be responsible for it. That's okay. But at the end of the day, everybody has a choice.
Exactly.
Everybody has a choice.
I mean, he could have made us robots.
No, but he didn't.
Exactly.
But that's what the government's trying to get us. See, that's what religion wants. Religion wants robots.
That's why I brought up free will.
Jesus wants freedom.
Exactly.
That's why we have the amendments. That's why we have the Ten Commandments to give us the examples that we need to follow.
Right.
We're not perfect. We're designed to fail them. But it doesn't mean that we could, the moment we give up on ourselves, that you think that's like saying, all right, after today, I'm just gonna go home and be lazy as heck, not do anything, right? That's me giving up on myself,
right?
But that's only a momentarily. Why? Because I'm still here. I'm still alive. I still got my hands. I still got my feet. I still got the tools that I can do it.
Right.
I just got to be the one to say, hey, I'm gonna get up my ass and I'm gonna do it.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
You see his passion, folks.
Yep.
That's why I brought him on here.
And that is why people will say, oh yeah, you could get banned for the stuff that you say. At the end of the day, if I get banned, then guess what? That means you do. Y'all just don't want to hear the truth,
Well, hell, I've been banned twice, 3 times before, and all I'm going to do is just come out with another channel if I did. So I don't care.
And all he really did was tell the truth. All he did was brought up the truth and what people need to wake up to. And yes, and he explained it himself that yes, he has his own thoughts about it, but it doesn't mean that you have to believe in everything that we say.
Exactly.
Just take the little bits and pieces of the main message that we're trying to give you and apply it to yourself. That's how you find that true peace. Is when you apply that to yourself and you feel that inner joy of like, what, exactly. I'm not perfect, but I am happy. I feel joyful because of what God has done for me in my life. I got to wake up. My heart is beating. We still have beautiful air that we can breathe. We still have the beautiful sun that we have out today. You got so much science, you got so much political, you got so much religious views on the solar system and everything about that'll get us scared. They'll try to get us to be scared.
Right.
But Jesus taught us to not be afraid.
Right.
Because he makes all things new.
And here's the thing.
Doesn't mean it's going to be good it may not be good to us, but it's going to be good for us.
Now here's the thing, folks.
That's the two different things.
Here's the thing. Look. We got to have the discussion. If you're not willing to talk about it, then don't bitch about it. Because if you're not willing to get into the weeds, so to speak, and have a discussion with it, hell, we may disagree sometime. But that's okay because we're having the discussion.
And at the end of the day,
we're on the same side here.
Exactly. We are. At the end of the day, this is my brother in Christ right here. See? He knows it. That's my brother in Christ right there. Why? Because again, and this is where I want to get with one thing too. Jesus has a better meaning of family or better meaning of love than religion.
Right.
This is what the kind of love that Jesus wants. Religion wants us. This is how religion wants it to be. Oh, you're black. No, I can't go with that. Oh yeah, no. Oh, you're wearing the American Eagle. Oh, why are you wearing that?
Yeah.
Exactly. You they want you to do that. They want you to react in a way where it's like, oh no, oh you need Jesus. Oh my gosh, oh.
I know.
It's like, that's judgmental.
And how many of you have gone through that? I'm sure a lot of you have gone through what he just did. Forget all of the race. You could be white, you could be Hispanic, you could be whatever. And somebody has put you outside of their circle.
And that's their choice. That doesn't mean that, oh yeah, I wish bad upon someone. Think about it. Do you really want, and this is where my generation will never understand the true meaning of the word hate. And I'm pretty sure back in your day it was a curse word.
Oh yeah.
See what I'm saying? So back in the day it was a curse word, but why was that? Because the true definition of hating someone, is you wish that someone was dead. You want to kill that someone in your head. So when you do that, and it says in the Bible, whatever you think,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all of it is not good. You know, at the end of the day, we all have devious thoughts. We all do.
Absolutely.
But it's what you choose to act upon on too that reflects the type of person that you are and what you believe in.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's I'm gonna share a little bit of, remember the video that I shared about my mom and my dad?
Yes.
I'm gonna branch off and go into from about my personal experience that I had and how Jesus helped me through that.
Okay.
My ex, she, when I met her, she was amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and I met her through online and stuff like that, and everything was going great, everything was kicking off. But the one thing that I realized about that I didn't do, I didn't have focus on God at that time.
Okay.
See, that's where God helps you realize that whatever what even your exes have, you be thankful that you have them, because they show they share lessons. They give us lessons that we need. And for so long before, I used to be upset at her. I was so frustrated, man. I didn't wish bad. I was just very upset and frustrated about what she did to me. She was amazing at first. She all that, but God was not in the center of it.
Mm.
I was just focused on her.
Right.
And that's where I was wrong. See? God shows you where you're wrong. Maybe after, but at least and it's a lesson
Right.
that's why we take L's. L's is not for losses. L's is for lessons.
Yeah.
And with that said, yeah, he also, but it wasn't only her.
Huh.
It's, when we broke off, she didn't give me a good reason.
Okay.
So that means it wasn't me.
Okay.
That just shows that, and even if it was, I have to live with that if I did. And I apologize, and I'm going to say this on here.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody sees or she sees it, I apologize for my part. Okay? I'm not perfect. I know where I was wrong. And I even apologize to her personally on that.
Okay.
So with that said, I already knew where I was wrong with that.
Right.
But the fact that is that they thought that, that that was right.
Right.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
Wow. And one thing that I truly believe in is the bro code. Just I believe in, just because I believe in Jesus don't mean that I have other beliefs in something that correlates to what I believe in. You see how that works? There you go.
Yeah.
So bro code 101. You don't date your boy's ex.
There you go.
And that's exactly what happened to me.
Mm.
But it was worse. It wasn't just my boy. It was my own blood cousin.
Man, really?
And you know what though? I give him respect at the same time. In the heat of moment, we said things that I said things that I regretted and I apologize to him for.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where he gets it wrong. He thinks that he try and he'll always be my cousin.
Right.
That will always be my cousin. I know that. But the fact that is that what you did and what you didn't tell me has an effect. What you do and don't do, what you choose to act upon and what you don't act upon on, has a consequence.
Absolutely.
So you didn't. You chose to not tell me, nor did she. I had to find out through somebody else.
Don't you love that?
The truth is a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So, and one thing, I understand that my cousin may still feel bad for it, but at the end of the day, I love him.
There you go.
I have to show that unconditional love, because at the end of the day, but it will never be the same.
Of course.
That's what he don't understand. He he tried reaching out to me before, and he tried saying, I want to rebuild the relationship, or at least bring it back to where it was.
Mm-hmm.
Can't.
Yeah.
Can't. That's the thing about the gaining someone's trust. And I grew up with that dude since diapers, so we were brothers.
Right.
We were brothers. And out of my whole family, I was like the only one that was closest to him out of our like blood relatives and stuff like that.
Mm.
And I'm not disregarding
Yeah.
his mom or anything. His mom loves him dearly.
Right.
I love my auntie too. My dad shows love from everybody, shows love from, but we had a different relationship where it was just tighter.
Yeah, I understand.
And it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that I have more love for him than anybody. That's just me showing that, hey, every relationship that you have with someone is going to be different regardless.
Yeah, it's a different bond.
It's not favoritism.
Yeah, it's a different bond.
If it was favoritism, then I would have obviously forgive him immediately. Then we would have been. Then you would have been looking at me like, what the freak? Like you've been giving me that question like, yo, so you didn't feel any, you didn't feel any, you didn't experience the you didn't get to be mentally aware of the situation.
Right.
See? So I was mentally aware, and I'm like, you know what? The Lord, this is where Jesus was telling me, because again, he kind of believed in the same thing I did, but he believed in a lot more of some science and in a certain degree, and that is where Jesus would, because I always pray for him, but he will always be him, and I can't change that. I'm not here. I wasn't there to change that at all. I love the. Again, you heard. I literally had a close relationship to that dude.
Right.
And with that said, God will teach you a lesson. Just because you have blood relatives, it doesn't mean that they're your family.
Right.
Family means trust, loyalty, honor, and respect and dignity. Unconditional. So with that said, I just covered 6 points about that. And if somebody messes up on one of those points, it's gonna affect the relationship regardless.
Absolutely.
When that someone breaks their trust, it's easy to gain trust, but no, I'm saying it's hard to gain trust. It's easy to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
When I had that much trust in someone where I didn't have to worry about and here's the sad part. You ready?
Go for it.
He had an ex at the time.
Yeah.
She was a weird one, but he told me to not text her. He told me to not do that.
Okay.
And I told him, of course. Why would I ever do that? She treat you like a freaking. She did you dirty. You're my bro. I'm not gonna do that to you.
Right.
So she tried reaching out to me after that.
Oh.
You're gonna love this. This girl really tried getting with me after that. She goes, oh yeah, I when I saw you, man, you look better than you're a better looking dude than your cousin. I like, really? You're that low? No.
Wow.
No. See?
Yeah.
And I told my cousin that.
Yeah.
See? I'm not the one. I don't hide the truth of what it is.
Right.
And with that said, I told him what happened. I told her, nope, bye.
Wow.
So I honored the bro code.
So, putting all of this together, you're describing exactly what religion is. Just based off of your bro code and basically off of what's happening out there. Because it's like religion is always segmenting and putting people against each other.
And that is where it's at. And that's
a battle.
And it was a battle with you. I realized that my battle wasn't with him.
Right.
It was with myself.
Yeah.
See? And that's where people gotta understand. Just because somebody else did wrong by you, it's okay to hate the sin, not the sinner.
Right.
That's why I say you can hate the sin. You're allowed to hate the sin. But don't hate the sinner, man. Because at the end of the day, we're all sinners.
I think the worst situation it's not just the ones you know that deals with somebody. It's the ones you don't know that deal with somebody.
Yeah.
Let's just say if your cousin had this woman that he was dealing with, he never introduced her to anybody, and then you got in a relationship independent of your cousin, and she realized, hold up, these two are related. You know what I'm saying? And she never opens her mouth about it.
Oh no! Oh, are you? Oh yeah.
I'm saying a hypothetical. Though.
Oh, hypothetical. Yeah, yeah. Now that's understandable though. That's because cousins. You got cousins that don't look like their relatives at all.
Yeah.
They look like their best friends, which they are. Yeah. But they're blood relatives, and it's okay to get mixed up.
Now I've known situations like that where brothers had messed with the same girl, but they didn't even realize.
And here's the crazy part.
But the girl knew they were brothers.
Just because men are, there's men out there that act like dogs, there's also women out there that does the same thing.
Right.
They keep it hush-hush. Pay attention to that. They keep whatever they do deviant.
Mm-hmm.
Hush-hush. They keep quiet. They're the type where they'll put on a good look. Like at your work or anywhere. They were like, "Oh my gosh, hi, how you doing today? You're doing to put on that good
fake
religious mask."
Yeah.
That's what
religion does. That's why I brought it up. Yeah.
Yep, that's a very good point. So with that said, bringing it back to my story here, I learned to forgive my cousin.
Right.
It doesn't mean we're gonna have the same relationship.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And people ask me, I'm pretty sure there's going to be comments where, do you still talk to him today? Rarely, no. Why? Because when you betray someone's trust that you grew up with, how do you handle that? What would you do in that situation? Ask yourself that. What would you do in that situation if your own blood did that to you? That's my blood cousin. His mom is my dad's sister.
And I'm gonna say this: that could happen to you with a couple of relatives, and you may treat one different than the other.
And that is not okay, though.
I'm gonna say
that is not okay when you treat somebody else different just because of that. And I am at fault for doing that at first because when I was upset, man, I was upset, man. You become a different person when you when you do that. But I forgive him and I apologize to him and he forgave me. But that's where it's at.
Yeah.
I go my way, he goes his way.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad asked me this question too. What if? The what if question.
Oh, of course.
What if he changed? What if he turned his life to Christ?
Okay, what if?
And I go, that's his choice. Congratulations. I'll be happy for him. By the end of the day, I'm not going to talk to him. I'm going to keep it the same. I'm going to keep it real.
Okay.
That's just me personally. Why? Because, again, if I were to do that, I will feel fake. If I reacted in a different way where I actually talk to him a lot more.
All right. You know what I'm about to ask, right?
Go ahead.
What's the difference between that and pride then? Because now you're skirting the line of...
Well, all right, yes, I see where you're going with that. So, it's just the fact about we have different views on life.
Okay.
And the fact that is that I realize that our relationship has changed.
Yeah.
It is different.
And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just
right. Exactly. You're bringing, and I love the fact. That's why, and I love it. This is why I love being here because you're calling me out on some of the stuff that I'm actually talking about.
Right.
And I appreciate that. So again, with that sense, I used to have a sense of pride when I was angry at him.
Mm-hmm.
I admit that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also had to ask God for forgiveness on that, and I had to apply that action. I had to apply it to my actions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for me to talk to him. I'm gonna admit it. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to talk to him, and it's just because of the fact that I can't trust him.
Okay.
That's what God showed me, is that you can't trust everybody.
Yeah.
You can't trust everybody. So even though if he were to change his lifestyle to Christ or something in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't change anything with me.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is that I forgave him.
Yeah.
We both go on our separate ways,
Right.
peacefully.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. From now on, I'm just. I used to be like, yeah, that was my cousin, and he's not. But I have to be bigger than that.
Yeah.
I have to be better for not only for that, but I have to be that person that I have to show. I have to talk. I can't just talk about it. I have to be about it.
Exactly.
So with that said, I love my cousin no matter what.
Right.
It's just not the way how he thought it's gonna be.
Right. I hear you.
So that is where the sense of I had to humble myself in that after that, because again, in the moment when you're heated, you're gonna do things that you're gonna regret automatically.
Absolutely.
Automatically on the rip.
Absolutely.
But you do it anyway so you can get it out.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have an outlet, if you can't vent it out, you're just gonna hold it in. It's just gonna kill you in the inside out even worse.
That's right.
So for me to express how I felt to my cousin,
Mm-hmm.
because we both said some things to each other that was.
Yeah, I bet.
I pulled the Uno reverse on him that probably did more damage to him than me.
Yeah.
And I felt bad.
Yeah.
Because that's my cousin. I'm like, shoot, huh? It's not like that either. How is that reflecting me? How is that going to reflect me?
Exactly.
And with that said, I had to humble myself. I had to pray to God.
Right.
And he doesn't know it because I don't talk to him about it. That's just me and God.
Yeah.
That's the thing, your relationship with Jesus is you. That's between you and him. Nobody else.
Exactly.
So when you get people asking you, oh, how's your day going, stuff, or what's going on with your life, just tell them, God has it under control. One day at a time.
So, we're going to put a bow on this episode. It's a lot to unpack.
It is. It's a lot to unpack, but I tell you what, at the end of the day,
we might have a part 2 to this.
Yeah, we might as well, because there's a lot more to cover than what it is right now. I didn't think about like this topic. I didn't realize how much bigger of a spectrum it was going to be until you brought up some very good questions.
I mean, well, see, the thing of it is, I'm not here to just talk, but people have to get a whole perspective of what's happening here.
And this is what love is right here, man. He called me out. He's like, yo, so how do you correlate that to pride? Because what you're explaining now is that you had pride. You called me out. And that's what love is calling each other out and respecting that someone for doing that. And then now you're like, you know what? Yeah, I did do that. I admit it.
And I'm going to be called out too, by him,
and it's okay. And it's okay. But
else.
You know what? That's why we're here, because we are always under construction every day, and that's why we're doing these videos. So it's not only for it's not only for us. It's not only for you. It's for all of us together as a community, because it's what we need to do.
Look, we learn and grow from the time we're born to the time we pass. We're always learning something new. And it's never going to end.
Yep.
And we just need to have the conversation, folks. I mean, there's no reason to debate because nobody listens to each other when they debate. Talk it out.
Well, here, I'm going to get a little bit right there if you don't mind.
Go for
it. What he meant by debate was argument.
Right.
Arguing is when you're trying to overtalk each other and no one's listening.
Exactly.
Having a healthy debate is what he's going on about now. Healthy debating is when you're hearing each other out. One person says what they have to say.
It has such a negative connotation. That's why I tried not to say debate.
Right, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Why? Because that's the thing, isn't it? People want positivity, but no reality.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you hear that word debate, it's a
people get on the fence.
People get on the fence, just like when people get on the fence about obedience.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my generation...
You're going to tell me I got to be obedient. Yeah.
My generation misinterprets those easily.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, having a debate is actually very good.
Mm-hmm.
Debating is very good. Why? Because you're hearing each other out.
Mm-hmm.
You're not yelling. You're not raising at each other. You're just debating.
A different point of view.
You're conversing on different points of view.
Mm-hmm.
But that also means that you can also learn from each other through those debates.
Exactly.
Come
to a consensus.
That's why there's healthy. That's why we call it healthy debating, and that's why it's so healthy. Not only for your relationship with the one that you love, relationships with your family.
Absolutely.
And that's why they say there's no such thing as a perfect family. If there is, that's a lie.
It is. You're gonna disagree about something. It's just how
They
you handle
can
it.
disagree all they want, but that means they're
It's
denying
how,
the truth.
it's how you handle it.
They're denying the truth.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, hell, it can be nonsensical. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the truth. It's just you just disagree just because you don't like the way it was said.
There you go.
You know,
it doesn't matter. See, this is what's wrong. People, this is where religion and Jesus gets wrong. Religion wants positivity. They want it to be one way, not reality. They want it to
positivity
be
and separation.
Positivity, separation,
Uh-huh.
divide and conquer.
There you go.
That's how they do it. That's the elites.
That's how they do it.
I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that watched this movie. But when the earlier Transformers, with when Michael Bay was doing it, that I think it was the first movie that they did, or the second, but that's when Optimus Prime said this: "United we stand, divided we fall." Pay attention to that. Oh, you're just a movie watcher. I'm not just a movie watcher. I watch movies for the message. See, every movie has a big piece of reality into it. But unfortunately, you got these newer Disney Marvel shows that they're coming out with, and then they're not only pushing reality, but they're also trying to push their own political agenda on it.
There you go.
That's wrong. But that's
for another episode.
That's for another episode.
Yeah. All right, folks. I want you to like, subscribe, comment, because I'm sure it's a lot of you that have a lot of thoughts in your mind right now about this episode. So talk about it. Let's hear it. Let's see it, and we'll reply to you and let you know what we feel and so forth.
Yeah.
And hey, this is the second Brandon episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot from it. And I hope we have the discussion. So until next time.